Hello, buddy. It's that college football guy. Here, another video. Yeah, I'm here in the sleeper, and there's a reason for that. Even though it's the middle of the damn day, I'm here in Falkville, Alabama. I sent out a message a little while ago, put a post out about how I'm got a flat tire. Well, there's more to that. Anyway, went down and picked up a load in Pulaski, Tennessee, to take it to Conyers, Georgia, taking the 65 south, and one of the tires on the trailer was low. And one thing about trailers, knowing about semi-trailers, there's airlines hooked up to the tires, so that way when the trailer's tires are moving, it reinflates the tire. Well, this one didn't want to reinflate, so I pulled into the truck stop here, have them take a look at it, as well as take a look at my air conditioning. It isn't working. I figured it may need to be charged, like it somehow got low or something. Because the AC in the sleeper back in here is the only one working. The one in the cab is not. I'm just blowing hot air. So they're going to check that out for me and replace the tire. Still in progress working on that. Now, we didn't come to talk about that. We came to talk about the Sunday college football update. It's going to start here in Falkville and heading to Conyers, so I have no idea how long the upload's going to take. But we're going to get to it. So right now we got a lot of stuff to get to in this update. This is going to be the results of the Friday games as well as the Saturday games. Now, if it's a subscriber school, I'll go more. And if you win as a subscriber school, I'll go in depth on it. If you lose, I'm not going to do it unless you face another subscriber school. So we'll get into that. But right now, like the Friday games, none of these had subscribers involved with them, so I'm just going to read off the scores. Maryland blew out Virginia 42-14. Virginia does not look good. Army upset UTSA 37-29. I thought UTSA was going to be was good, but man, I don't know. And then Air Force beats the brakes off of actually not beats the brakes off, beats up Utah State 39-24. Just with a piece of paper in front of everybody. Just crazy on that one. Now we're going to the Saturday games. We'll do the top 25 first in all subscriber schools. Number 1, Georgia against South Carolina. Georgia had its problems in the first half, trailing 14-3 at the end of the half. What the hell? Come back and win 24-14. Carson Beck 27-35, 269 yards, no touchdowns or INTs. Rushing for the team, 44 carries for 189 yards and 3 touchdowns. Edwards had 20 carries for 118 yards and a TD. Defensively for the Bulldogs, 3 sacks, 2 picks, no fumble recovery. So they got the win. They look pretty doing it. And Michigan Bowling Green. When I said Michigan was favored by 40 points, they can't even score 40. Well, guess what happened? They didn't score 40. Michigan beat Bowling Green 31-6. J.J. McCarthy, 8 of 13 for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Not good. Team rushing, 31 carries, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Blake Corum had 12 carries for 101 yards and both TDs. Defensively for the team, 3 sacks, 2 picks, no fumble recoveries. Michigan gets the win, but this is just crazy. Number 3, Florida State survives Boston College 31-29. That was a crazy game. Number 4, Texas and Wyoming. It was 10-7 Texas at the half, but they pulled away and won 31-10. Quinn Ewers, 11-21 for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, but did have a rushing TD, so he accounted for 3 total. Team rushing, speaking of that, 31 carries for 185 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown belonged to Quinn Ewers, but Jonathan Brooks had 21 carries for 164 yards. Defensively with the team, 1 sack, 1 pick, and a fumble recovery, and the pick was Jerrion Thompson. Was a 27-yard pick 6. So, congratulations to Texas for getting the win, but it's a hard-fought one. Ohio State, Western Kentucky. Ohio State won 63-10 for number 5. Kyle McCord, 19-23, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Marvin Harrison Jr., welcome back. 5 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown. He looked pretty hurt in the last game. Team rushing for Ohio State, 33 carries for 204 yards and 3 TDs, and Trevion Henderson had 2 of those rushing touchdowns. Defensively, for the Ohio State, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 2 fumble recoveries. 2 across the board. Tyleik Williams had a sack and a fumble recovery, and Jermaine Matthews Jr. had a 58-yard pick 6. So, solid win by Ohio State. Number 6, Penn State against Illinois. Penn State won 30-13. Drew Allar, 16-33. Not good. 208 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Also not good. Team rushing, 40 carries for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, 3 sacks, 4 picks, and a fumble recovery. Plus 5 in turnovers. Keziah Izad, I believe his name is, had 2 sacks for Penn State. So congratulations to Penn State on a big hard-fought win. Big win. Number 8, Washington against Michigan State without Mel Tucker. They destroyed them. Washington won 41-7. Michael Penix Jr. confirmed himself being in the Heisman race, 27-35, 473 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Let's see here. Rome Odunze had 8 receptions for 180 yards. Jalin Polk had 5 receptions for 118 yards and a touchdown. Jack Westauer had 3 touchdown receptions. Team rushing, 33 carries for 177 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, 2 sacks, 1 pick, no fumble recoveries, and Zion Tapolato Fatui, I hope I'm saying that right, had 2 sacks. Number 9, Notre Dame. Subscriber school against Central Michigan. Notre Dame won 41-17. Sam Hartman went 16-26, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, no pick. They also had a rushing touchdown. Team rushing, speaking of that, 37 carries, 236 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Audric Estime, I'm not sure where, please let me know. Some my Notre Dame subscribers, let me know in the comments how to say his name. 20 carries for 176 yards and a touchdown. Defensively for Notre Dame, 2 sacks, no picks or fumble recoveries. It's a good solid win for Notre Dame. Speaking of a win, but not a solid win, number 10 Alabama beat South Florida 17-3. Good God, they look like a dumpster fire. I'm going to get into the real dumpster fire here next because my Tennessee Vols got absolutely whacked by Florida 29-16. Number 11 Vols. They looked horrible. Joe Milton looked like overthrow. They looked absolutely pathetic. Number 12, Utah beat Weber State 31-7. Number 13, Oregon beat up on Hawaii 55-10. Bo Nix 21-27, 247 yards and 3 touchdowns and no INT. And Ty Thompson, who was a running back, threw a passing touchdown in the game. The reason I brought that up is because Tez Johnson and Tyshawn Holden both had 2 touchdown receptions apiece. 2 guys accounted for all 4 passing touchdowns. Team rushing, 30 carries, 237 yards, 237 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jordan James had 2 of the 3 rushing touchdowns. Defensively for Oregon, 2 sacks, 1 pick, no fumble recoveries. Number 14, LSU beat up on Mississippi State 41-14. Missouri upsets number 15, Kansas State 30-27. Number 16, Oregon State beats San Diego State 26-9. Battle of the subscriber schools. DJ Uiagalelei. Yeah, I said it right this time. 14 of 30. 284 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks for the rushing touchdowns. Not exactly superb. Team rushing, 32 carries for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, 6 sacks, 1 pick, and a fumble recovery. And Andrew Crutchfield Jr. had 2 of those sacks. So, nice win for Oregon State. Let's talk about Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. Ole Miss wins 48-23. Why did anybody think Georgia Tech was going to win this? Speaking of surviving, number 18 Colorado survives Colorado State 43-35 in 2 overtimes. Shedeur Sanders, 38 for 47, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick, with Michael Harrison with 2 receiving touchdowns. Here's the problem with Colorado. Team rushing, 35 carries, 70 yards, no touchdowns. Now we got problems. Defensively, 3 sacks, 3 picks and a fumble recovery, and Shiloh Sanders and an 80-yard pick six right in the first possession of the game. A big win for Colorado over Colorado State, and to say that because they look hit or miss. Number 19 Oklahoma beat up on Tulsa 66-17. Dylan Gabriel, people were calling for his job. Why? 28 of 31, 421 yards, 5 touchdowns, no INTs. Jaleel Farouk had 6 receptions for 126 yards and a touchdown. Nick Anderson had 3 receptions for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. Andre Anthony had 4 receptions for 112 yards, and Drake Stoops had 2 receiving touchdowns. Team rushing, 28 carries for 119 yards and 2 TDs. Defensively, 3 sacks, 5 picks, no fumble recoveries. The guy who's challenging on Sundays, Danny Stutzman. This dude's going to be in the league. Not only is he getting a league and team and tackles again, he had a 30-yard pick six in this game. Just monster. Number 20, North Carolina beat Minnesota 31-13. Drake May, 29 of 40. 414 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. Nate McCollum had 15 receptions for 165 yards and a touchdown. Team rushing, 37 carries for 105 yards and 2 TDs. Not good. Team defensively, 1 sack, 2 picks, no fumble recoveries. A good win for North Carolina over a very good Minnesota team. Number 21, Duke keeps on rolling. Beats up on Northwestern, 38-14. Number 23, Washington State beats up on Northern Colorado, 64-21. Number 24, UCLA, subscriber school against North Carolina Central. UCLA wins 59-7. Dante Moore, 8 of 12, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. It wasn't very much passing. Team rushing, 39 carries, 404 yards with 6 touchdowns. And was it Schlee here had 2 rushing touchdowns. Defensively for UCLA, 3 sacks, 1 pick, 1 fumble recovery. Last of the top 25 scores, number 25 Iowa beat Western Michigan 41-10. Now we get into subscriber schools around the top 25. Baylor. I don't write down Long Island University score. It didn't really matter. Baylor won the game. Sawyer Robertson, 10-22, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Team rushing, 48 carries, 270 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Dawson Pendergrass had 21 carries for 111 yards and a TD. Defensively, 3 sacks, 1 pick, no fumble recoveries, and Ryan Vaughn, 2 sacks. So good big win for Baylor. They needed that one. They're going to right the ship. Boise State against North Dakota. Boise State wins 42-18. Taylor Green, 18-29, 188 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Maddox Madsen, the backup quarterback, went 3 for 3 for 57 yards and a touchdown. So that's 2 passing touchdowns. Toro bring that up because Eric McAllister went 6 receptions for 143 yards and both receiving touchdowns. Team rushing, 35 carries for 132 yards and 4 TDs, and Ashton Jeanty had 3 rushing touchdowns. Defensively for Boise State, 6 sacks, no picks, 2 fumble recoveries. Good win for Boise. Temple against Norfolk State. Temple beat up Norfolk State 41-9. Told me they had to get the win, and they did it. E.J. Warner, 14-22, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Team rushing wise, 41 carries, 290 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Jacques Smith had 15 carries for 142 with a TD. And Quincy Patterson had 2 rushing touchdowns. Defensively for Temple, 1 sack, but no picks or fumble recoveries. But hey, they got the win, didn't they? Appalachian State against East Carolina. Appalachian State wins 43-28. North Texas, Louisiana Tech. I picked North Texas the first games of the year, and they lost. I picked against North Texas, and you win 40-37, I believe it is, or 27 over Louisiana Tech. Chandler Rogers, 24-40, 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Roderick Burns had 11 receptions for 134 yards. Team rushing, 47 carries, 249 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Ayo Adeo, 19 carries, 145 yards, and both of those rushing touchdowns. Defensively, 1 sack, no picks, 1 fumble recovery. So a good win for North Texas. Middle Tennessee State played Murray State. Middle Tennessee State got a win. They won 35-14. Nicholas, oh Jesus. Verito. It's hard to say his name. 28-34, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 INT. Rushing for the team, 26 carries, 217 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Jaden Creedle had 11 carries for 132 yards and a touchdown, plus a receiving TD in the game. Defensively, 2 sacks, no picks, but 3 fumble recoveries. So that's a solid win for Middle Tennessee State. UNLV and Vandy. If you have a chance to watch the highlights of this game, I got a chance to watch them. Wow. UNLV won 40-37, beating the SEC school. Doug Frumfield, their starting quarterback, went down early, so they were wondering what was happening with Jaden Mayava, redshirt freshman quarterback, 1933, 261 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Plus he had a rushing touchdown. Ricky White, the former Michigan State product, 12 receptions for 165 yards. Team rushing, 40 carries, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, 3 sacks, 1 pick, 3 fumble recoveries, plus 4 in the margin. And Jerry Williams had 1 sack and a fumble recovery. So big win for UNLV over Vanderbilt. Miami of Ohio upset Cincinnati 31-24. Speaking of upsets and shocking, South Alabama beat up on Oklahoma State 33-7. Texas Tech and Tarleton State. Texas Tech wins 41-3. Tyler Shaw, 10-20, 123 yards and a touchdown, no INTs, but he also had a rushing touchdown. Speaking of rushing, team rushing, 39 carries, 221 yards, and a touchdown, which belonged to Tyler Shaw. Defensively, 3 sacks, 3 picks, no fumble recoveries. Miles Cole had 2 sacks. Malik Dunlap had 2 picks, one of them being a 54-yard pick 6. So big win for Texas Tech to get themselves right. Toledo and San Jose State. This was kind of a dogfight, but Toledo ends up winning 21-17. DeQuan Finn, 13-23 for 92 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but he also had a rushing touchdown. Team rushing is a total 36 carries, 229 yards, and a TD. That TD belonging to DeQuan Finn. Penny Boone, 13 carries for 123 yards. Defensively for Toledo, 5 sacks, 1 pick, and no fumble recoveries. They got up to the quarterback. Judge Culpepper, still love the name, had 2 sacks, and Chris McDonald had a 25-yard pick 6 for Toledo. So big win. Syracuse at Purdue, against Purdue, and Syracuse wins 35-20. The one game I got wrong, but I'm kind of glad I got wrong, the backyard brawl. West Virginia does beat Pitt 17-6. in a game that was plagued by injuries. Nico Marchiati, 6 of 9 for 60 yards and a touchdown. Team rushing 51 carries for 151 yards and a touchdown. C.J. Donaldson Jr. had 18 carries for 102 yards and that rushing touchdown. Defensively, they had 1 sack, 3 picks, no fumble recoveries. I wrote it wrong. So big win for West Virginia. Speaking of one, I marked this down as a possible upset. Well, the upset happened. Sacramento State faces their former head coach Troy Taylor, who's now at Stanford, and they beat Stanford 30-23. TCU against Houston. TCU gets back on a winning track, beating Houston 36-13. So big win there. Now we get into Fresno State and Arizona State. Fresno State Group of 5 on the road to Pac-12 school. Fresno State was favored. I picked Fresno to win. They didn't disappoint. They won 29-0. Mikey Keene, 32 of 49, 281 yards, but 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Eric Brooks had 11 receptions for 104 yards. Team rushing, 34 carries, 69 yards, no touchdowns. Defense, this was the story of the game. Five sacks, 5 picks, 3 fumble recoveries, plus 8 in turnovers. Jacob Holmes and Kamari Munier-Bailey each had a sack and a fumble recovery apiece. And Carlton Johnson had 3 picks. Amazing win. Kansas at Nevada. Kansas wins 31-24. Jalen Daniels, 21-27, 298 yards, but no touchdowns or INTs. Rushing-wise for the team, 40 carries for 142 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Devin Neal had 3 of those 4 touchdowns. Defensively, 2 sacks, no picks, no fumble recoveries. Big win for Kansas over Nevada. Nevada's not a great team, but they needed another win. And last game, Arizona against UTEP. Arizona wins 31-10. Jaden DeLaura, 23 of 29, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Team rushing 32 carries for 264 yards and a touchdown. And defensively, 3 sacks, no picks, and a fumble recovery. I said this in an earlier video I did yesterday. Is this perhaps the most upside down start to a season I can remember? Because I can remember it being this bad and this crazy, and the fact that your top 25 rank can be gone next week because you're going to lose. So, crazy stuff. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like. I'm frustrated because my damn don't have an AC. If you haven't done it already, please smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It helps the algorithm, helps the video be seen by more people. Comment on the video. Let me know what you think about all these games here and how well you did in your predictions. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. On the way to 500 subscribers, slowly but surely, on that crawl up to 1,000, so you can make some things happen. So thanks everybody for watching. Tomorrow's video is going to be my top 25, and I'm letting out a spoiler alert, new number 1. Since I've already figured out the poll. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody has a great day. Hopefully I can get my damn butt out of here and get on the road down to Georgia. So thanks everybody for watching. Have a safe Sunday. You're on the interstates. Be careful. There are cops everywhere. And please, be good to each other.